is
the
no official
match
ranking?
of the week.
Yeah.
Declarer.
You got this.
And thus I declare this match of the week.
It is the match of the week. Let's do it. We also have the two best mid laners in the league going up against each other, and that is just always so fun to watch.
Yeah. Quid and Quad. A lot of power in those letters, you know?
Yeah, I mean, 3 of them are the same letter.
Exactly.
There's just the Q, the U, and the D. Those are the most powerful. I wonder if there's like 3 other guys that have the other vowels. There's Quod.
Do you think if someone name changes to like Qued, that they become the top 3 mid laner in the league?
Yeah. No, you just have to have all of the Q guys.
By next year, we just have Quid versus Quad versus Qued versus Queed versus Quode.
Yeah, all of them. That would be the best.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. That's how you rise to glory. Let's go ahead and jump into the bans. Ivern, Rumble, Jace banned out by 100. And over on FlyQuest side, banning out the Varus, the Vi, and the Bard, surprisingly. Wanting to keep that one away from Eyla. Kalista, though, escaping her normal spot on the ban list. Going to be locked in first here for FBI. Now, I will both agree and disagree with Kangas. I do not agree that FBI is better than Yone and Massu. I think my boy is trolling a little bit with that one, but I do think he's a very solid AD carry. And
5 o'clock. Leave the drink until later for Kangas.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But I do like seeing him on more aggressive picks. I agree with that, right? So on something like a Kalista, let's see what he's got.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that he has really upgraded this team, and it took 100 Thieves to me from someone who is like a solid team to being an actual title contender, right? And I do think FBI is such a big part of that because it was always like, well, I sure hope Quid and River can 2v5. You know, I sure hope they're going to carry the game. And they didn't really have a lot of faith, you know, outside of that. But now, you know, Ayla's been playing a lot better. FBI is a pretty big upgrade down in the bot lane, and that is going to be something very, very strong. We can see Neeko gets locked in. I'm expecting that to be Neeko support for Busio. This is something that's actually been getting quite a bit of popularity that I've been seeing in solo queue. I've been seeing quite a bit of Neeko. Also been seeing some like fiddle support and things like that kind of popping up as strong champions.
Saw that in the LEC earlier today.
There you go. Renata also obviously one of the best pairings with Kalista. It does allow you to play very aggressively, but can struggle against poke. It's not really generally a great champion against kind of non-committal engage. So slamming the Renata here very early makes me wonder if we are just going to get like Neeko plus Ashe or Neeko plus other long-range AD and just try to not take any sort of all-ins, but just look to poke and prod and chip down this bot lane and win it that way. And because it's early in draft, you can even go for like more of an all-around, longer-range team comp if that is what they decide is going to be the best case scenario here.
I mean, long-range, non-committal type of comp does seem like the kind of thing that works well against Renata even as the game goes on, but we're actually going to get the, well, kind of the opposite of that. Yone is very non-committal because of his E. I'm not going to use any descriptors because I don't have any polite ones to use for Yone's E. It is.
Hey, he still gets CC'd when he snaps back now. That's something.
That's something. It's progress. It's progress.
You know what I think is I don't think he should be able to snap back when he's CC'd. I think he should be stuck in place.
That's the way it always should be. Thank you, Isaac.
Yes.
You are a man of the people. You shouldn't be allowed to cheat. League of Legends is a fair game where you compete.
Just gonna say I was playing Gnar top game against Yone. And he eat under my tower, and I Mega Nar'd him in the wall, and it still stepped back. Yes, he was stunned when he snapped back, but he was no longer in tower range. I was angry.
It's the worst. It's the worst. But it is a champion that somebody like Quad can flex his prowess on. This character has so much carry power. It has so much maneuverability. There's so much you can do with it. The ability to just juggle your opponents with all the CC. This feels like a very powerful pick. If you get Kalista or Renata caught in a bad spot with Yone, they are dead 100%. Zhao also locked in here for 100 Thieves for the jungle pick. This has just been like a staple jungler in pretty much everybody's pool, I feel like.
Look at these bans. These are the 2 picks that Bwipo actually brought out last week that he was kind of cooking with. The Yorick and the Vladimir, not the standard bans you expect. This is kind of the Bwipo factor, you know, where he has this unique champion pool. He's drawing meta bans like Rumble and Jace, but he's also drawing bans that are like, he's kind of one of the only people that are playing much of it. And so I do think it's really, really cool. Caitlyn would fit the bill as far as what I was talking about, as these lanes that can really do well. It is a long range, you know, non-committal AD carry. You know, I mentioned Ashe. Varus obviously is banned out. Caitlyn's another great one because you can just poke and prod. As long as you don't get caught in an all-in, like a flash handshake or something like that, you just outrange these champs and can kind of get pushed and poke them down.
And I really like Caitlyn combined with another champion that has some form of root or or snare as well, because it's so easy to lay the trap under their feet when they're caught by the snare and just get that long chain CC, especially something like, we always think of Lux as Caitlyn's traditional lane bully partner. Lux's Q can hit through one minion. Neeko's snare can hit through minions as well, can make it very dangerous to walk up and try to contest for these creeps, try to contest for the farm. Meanwhile, back on the side of 100 Thieves, it'll be Ahri locked into the mid lane as the answer for Quid into Quad's Yone.
Yep, going to be Ahri, and they were already hovering in that Gnar for quite a long time, so it does make sense. It is just going to be the Gnar. We'll see what the answer is here from Bwipo on 5, as a lot of his picks have already been banned out. Silas is gone as well, one of those top lane picks. He could just be going something super standard, but I would be curious to see if he's going to cook and bring out something, like the Urgot that he does play a lot of. He has definitely his own unique approach to the game and to the best ways to play it, which I think always makes it a lot of fun. Gragas is just kind of one of these picks that can kind of answer into everything. Aatrox, I was just watching him his solo queue stream last night, and this is actually what he was playing into a Gnar in that game as well. So I'm kind of expecting to just be the electrocute Aatrox. It's also a double melee pairing here now alongside that Sejuani, which also is really, really strong up on that top side. You have good 2v2 bot. You have some power up on this top side that Sejuani can really play around. And I think FlyQuest have gotten themselves quite a good, well-rounded draft. That being said, there's lots of playmaking on the other side. There's this kind of really strong mid-jungle duo of River and Quid on these powerful early and mid-game champions that can also scale pretty well, who can put pressure on, find angles, make plays. And if FBI can get ahead, if they can have push in that lane, you can try to stack dragons. So I think both teams really do kind of have their strengths, and it should be a very fun game to watch. I don't think that either team just like hard won draft or anything like that. It's just kind of very different approaches to how they want to play the game.
A couple of different identities. Yeah. I really do want to see how this bottom lane plays out specifically, because Kalista just lives on the ban list, it feels like. Like, nobody wants to play against this champion. Nobody wants to deal with what she can do early, the pressure she can put on. And it feels like whenever she does get through, it's because the team that allows her through is thinking, okay, we're going to beat it with this ranged strategy. But if you don't keep it under control, it's tough. All right, let's see how it all goes down here as Busio is pretending to be inspired. Bwipo is already down here in the bottom part of the map, while Inspired is up near his chicken camp. Looks like everybody on 100 Thieves is going to be heading towards this bottom half of the map here too, as we're kind of in this weird stare down where everybody's down here for some reason, but nobody really wants to take anything crazy early.
Yeah, they are just kind of 5 stacked here, seeing if there's going to be any sort of shenanigans on an invade, but does not look like it's going to amount to too much. Sometimes you will see teams, especially when it is kind of really spicy bot lanes, send a lot of people bots just to actually get brush control on the side and be able to get a deep ward and to make sure that their opponents cannot get one as well, because that side brush control can actually mean so much in some of these matchups. You can see that Massu is going to be playing cleanse. Makes a lot of sense. Obviously, anytime there's hostile takeover on the other side, you kind of have to pay that cleanse tax, and it is going to be heal from Busio, so not the most aggressive as far as like going ignite or anything like that. Yeah. And you can see that Bwipo was actually going grasp here instead of the electrocute, or sometimes people do comment and stuff like that. So this is obviously going to be maybe a bit more consistent, like a little bit kind of lower variance here. But Bwipo, obviously a player who has been known for all of these different style of counter picks. Last week he was bringing out the Vladimir we saw against TL. He brought out Yorick the next day. In the past, he was known for things like even like Rengar. He's been known for his Volibear. He's been known for his Urgot. Like, he has such a unique playstyle that really makes him different to prepare for than any other top laner in the league. And I think it's such an advantage that FlyQuest do have, especially in this kind of fearless era. As we're going to be moving on into best of 3s and best of 5s. And this was a reaction here, from Castle there, I believe, after he died to it, where he's just like, holy crap, that champion, I didn't know what it did, basically, right? Not a lot of people are playing Yorick top, and you really can get an edge in that way. It's like, who do you scrim to prepare against Bwipo? there's no one. It's just Bwipo.
Yeah, go play solo queue and hope that you get some weird random guy who likes to play non-meta junk in your top lane. Like, that's what you got to do. But Bwipo is kind of getting smacked around a little bit here by Sniper in the Mega Gnar form. And I like that you talk about the advantages that this builds for FlyQuest, because I think specifically in the context of North American Professional League of Legends, even more so, it's also an advantage for Red side. I feel like historically, North American teams have not made the most use out of Red side 5th pick, like last pick in the draft, really getting value out of having that. And having Bwipo willing to play all of this crazy nonsense that nobody else is willing to try gives you such a unique advantage when playing from Red.
It really does, and I would actually even take it further. I don't think it's just been North America. I think historically the only region that has done it very well has been the LPL. You know, often in the LCK and the LEC, it's kind of similar things where Red 5 just ends up being some kind of like standard meta pick that you could have just blinded and it would have been the same matchup, right? And I do think Bwipo is one of those guys that makes it really, really hard. You know, he's drawing bans, he's doing things, and he can also still play these meta picks that are more standard. And we'll see, you know, how that top lane is going to go. Obviously, it's an HP advantage for Sniper. He still has his potion in pocket, largely because Bwipo, I think, just kind of overplayed his hand on the wave and didn't respect the level 3 timing there from Sniper, so he's able to get a really nice trade in. And now that wave is slowly pushing away from Bwipo.
Ooh, Busio caught out there by the handshake. FBI continuing to go forward, needs to hop a little bit further. Just a little bit more damage would be enough. FBI on the chase, but he cannot get quite enough damage there with the rend. So Busio low, but not all the way down. He and Massu both, however, down below 200 HP, forced back underneath their turret.
Yeah, that was actually a critical mistake there from Busio. He was too slow on the clone. So what you're supposed to do in this matchup is be able to use the clone to block the handshake. They're going to look for a dive, but Inspired's here.
Inspired's ready to try to shut this down. Busio and Massu playing on the knife's edge, trying to stay close enough to bait their opponents in for Inspired, but not close enough that they end up getting killed themselves. FBI down to about 50 HP. The bailout has landed, but it's not going to bail out a damn thing. 100 Thieves. They might have done better in the 2v2, but it's a 5v5 game, and Inspired shows up first for first blood. Sniper flashing out from Bwipo at the exact same time as Bwipo flashed forward too, so both top laners now also without summoners.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy because Massu didn't even end up having to use his summoners at the end of the day. He held on to both summoners, so yeah, you got the summoners off Busio. That is really, really good, but FBI lost his flash and died there. Massu gonna die now as well as he was trying to reset that wave, and now his wave is absolutely cooked. That wave is horrible.
Yeah.
They're actually, so they are swapping. So they're going to send Sniper down towards bot. He's going to be the one to actually get to collect all of these minions.
That's a happy Gnar.
That is a very happy Gnar. He's going to be in a great spot off of that. You can see he built the Executioners already very early on here. And so we're going to get this replay. And we're just going to see how River was able to get in. The wave was really, really bad. Massu says, you know what, just going to flip it. Going to try to reset this wave. River knew he was on vision. And that is just a freebie. Massu intelligently does not use any summoners there. And I don't think River even really needed to flash. No. Maybe he was worried about potential counter gank or someone coming in and then it getting turned around on him. But does spend the flash, does get the kill. Going to be pretty happy about it.
Maybe thinking that Massu might try to flash away since he still had the summoner spells. If you flash right before he flashes, you'll still buffer the auto through the summoner spell and instantly get the kill anyway. But Massu just holding on to it, knows he's dead there. You're a 300 HP 80 carry, and Zhao just jumped out of the bush. There's not really a whole lot of outs in that situation. But Massu and Busio up here on the top side now against FBI and Eyla, and Inspired is lurking in the brushes yet again, just hoping FBI and Eyla get a little bit too aggressive so he can immediately turn around and punish just like he recently did.
Yeah, they saw the vision plan just get hit, Bo.
There it is. Inspired jumping right on in, and FBI is in danger, caught up in the tangle barbs, and shot down again. The bailout is too little, too late. Massu getting his first kill of the game.
Inspired had such good patience there. He actually waited for a really long time, and then they got the info that River was around because he hit the vision plant in their jungle, so they realized he's not in lane, he's not going for a counter gank or anything like that, so they have the opportunity then as soon as FBI steps forward. He waited a really long time, but he's able to get it. Eyla now trying to sneak around, see if they can find anything, but not really going to happen.
Ooh, River, though, going in after Quad, who immediately goes into the Soul Unbound, and Inspired jumps over the wall, ready to help out his mid laner. There's the Yone with the Fate Sealed. A little bit more damage is required, and River is down. Nicely done. Feat of Warfare secured, and Ayla's going to be the next to die. Inspired flashing over the wall, looking to keep himself alive, but it will not happen. Shut down over to Quid. 4-2 game for FlyQuest, as Quid now tries to make his escape. Busio's going to block him come up here as Massu provides covering fire over the wall with a 90 caliber net right back into his own side of the jungle to hunt down this Ahri. A little bit more will do it, and the Piltover Peacemaker does the job. 5-2 FlyQuest.
Yeah, FlyQuest getting a huge advantage off of this one. We can watch it one more time. They're able to finish off the grubs, and then it's the rare fourth grub does appear out of the bush here as they're able to go back over the wall. This was bold from River for sure. I guess they just felt a little bit desperate to try to make some sort of a play, and then that looked like a misclick from Eyla. He flashes over the wall, and he used the bailout on Quad instead of on River there. So they were a little bit stacked. I think that was a misclick, and that definitely hurts them as he ends up going in. Definitely disappointed with how that play worked out. Bailout on the wrong target, that is critical. I don't know if they would have had enough juice to actually get the reset and then maybe make that fight go very differently. It's hard to say, but either way, going to be a frustrating moment when you commit your flash and it doesn't go where you want it.
I think we have more kills at 8 minutes in this one than we had at 28 minutes in the last one.
Yeah.
These teams are scrapping. FlyQuest, and particularly Inspired, paying attention to this bottom lane. When you have the poking non-committal bot lane duo versus the all-in duo, you know that all you have to do is be there when they try to all-in your guys. Otherwise, they're just going to get suffocated the entire time. They have to all-in eventually, and Inspired's doing a great job of punishing that.
He really is, and honestly, in the 2v2, it's got to be frustrating for Eyla and FBI because there was this mistake that was made by Busio, and then you're in this position where you can zone them off their own tower early on in the game and get this big advantage, but their eyes got a little bit too big, they got a little bit too greedy, and they chase, not respecting where Inspired could be, punishes them there, and then lies in wait up in that top lane side brush for such a long time, able to convert that on a kill as well, and now Massu, nearly a 1,000 gold lead despite still being down a couple CS. He is really off the races.
And up here in top side, though, the mid lane battle continues as Quad will just snap back to his original position here. Gets the slightly better trade on Quid on the Ahri. We do have only that first feat claimed by FlyQuest, but they're 1,500 gold ahead thanks to all the kills that they've managed to secure for themselves. The one champion who does have a singular gold advantage over their lane opponent is Quid on the Ahri, up about 150 gold there. But really not feeling too great about that even if you're on 100 Thieves side, because Quad was a part of that big outplay that they had to catch 100 Thieves on the backside of the grubs and really just get so much from it. Yeah,
exactly. They tried to punish there, but didn't quite have the damage. And we can see in the head-to-head, it has been pretty much all Bwipo. 8-3, massive gold advantages. This time, Sniper doing well. It did take them a lot of bans to kind of potentially get these matchup, but still, Bwipo did have counter pick. He was last pick on red side, and it is Sniper with those slight advantages thus far as the CS is concerned. Pretty much dead even, but does at least have the push. Maybe going to be able to grab a plate here as well.
Something interesting this game, a minor thing, but still catching my interest. Red Smite for Inspired on the Sejuani. I feel like this is not very common at all. I feel like I'm always seeing blue or green.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's interesting. I'm kind of curious as to why he exactly went for it. Obviously, I mean, you do have the little slow, you have a little bit of damage when you smite. I'm just trying to think, like, does he think that is maybe more important, just getting a little bit of a slow for a chase down or something?
Maybe particularly on Kalista, because slows affect her ability to hop. That's my guess.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of too, is that it's just about that, valuing that more than movement speed out of the brush or the additional HP shield, when you do evolve those smites. It's possible it was just like a random misclick or something, but Inspired is very calculated in how he plays, so if they win, maybe we can actually interview him and ask him about that, is why he went red smite, because good catch, it is definitely very atypical, and gonna be 6 grubs for FlyQuest. That's tough against Caitlyn, man. Ooh. You have this like siege AD carry now with 6 grubs. At the very least, Sniper does have push here. You can see that Bwipo had already based, and Sniper is going to be able to get the Demolish proc, get at least another plate. So they do grab some gold down on the bot side, but it is nearly a 2,000 gold lead here for FlyQuest, and it is 6 grubs to 0. No dragons being taken by either side. Means 100 Thieves have not been able to trade anything back.
And Caitlyn is such an oppressive champion if she's playing from a lead. If her team is at the point where once you reach mid-game, they are going to be the ones that are first to arrive to the neutral objectives. Normally, that's always hard to contest in any given game of League of Legends. But against Caitlyn especially, the ability to block off an entire entry point into that objective fight with a line of 4 or 5 traps just makes it that much more difficult for the team to approach. And when you look at this roster for 100 Thieves, Gnar would have to be Mega, or Zhao jumping in with an ulti is the only person who can really afford to try to step up and clear those traps away. And I feel like 100 Thieves' job trying to contest neutral objectives in the mid-game will be very difficult this game.
Yeah, it does seem really, really tough. You know, like you say, and you have that line of traps, you're walking through potential poke from Busio, and, you know, if you do overcommit into that, throw out the Sejuani ult, just try to punish that one character. There's so much CC there to follow up if any bit of CC hits. So FlyQuest are going to be able to grab this. River says, you know what, it's not even worth risking it.
Yep.
If he goes in, he's very likely to die. So it'd be a really low percentage play. So it's just going to sacrifice that, and it is going to be first dragon of the game for FlyQuest.
First dragon of the game and third neutral objective on top of their first to 3 kills means FlyQuest will snag the empowered boots off of that objective take as well. Everything going their way here in the early game. 100 Thieves are going to have to stop this bleeding. It's not like the game is so far away from them that they're just staring at death's door, but they really need to find something to go their way here soon.
And I'm checking in on the Sejuani thing to see if it's something that's getting popular in solo queue, but yeah, there's almost no purchases of Red Smite on Sejuani in solo queue either, so definitely not super popular build, but yeah, maybe we can find out from Inspired what his thought process was with that and kind of maybe the edge he feels like he's getting from it. We are going to have Quid doing this kind of pretty popular build now for Ahri. People are really liking the Roa build path. It got some slight buffs as well. And so we're seeing a lot more of this kind of tanky style of Ahri. We're seeing a lot of just Roa into Leandries and this kind of like more, I don't want to call it bruiser, but it's like, kind of feels like that sort of style where you're just dashing in and out, you're applying dots, and you're just kind of being more disruptive and putting out high DPS as opposed to just like hitting one combo on the backline and one-shotting them.
It's lower burst, but you have more consistent damage over the course of a longer fight. Also the health to participate in such a fight. Turret going to drop down there in the bottom lane as FlyQuest has to retreat over in mid. Sniper staying alive down there in the bot side as Inspired turns it around over in mid lane. River down to about 100 HP, tries to jump in, needs the bailout. Massu's still alive, and now he's in a killing spree. 100 Thieves thought they might have got something, but they are immediately corrected in that assumption.
Yeah, Quad TP's in as well to try to help cover. That was very close to actually getting a number of kills. It was a really good hostile takeover from Eyla across multiple members there from 100 Thieves. Now in goes Quad.
Oh, Quad jumping in, using the Fate Seal just to get extra distance and then trying to jump on top of his targets, but not really enough there, just trying to scare him a little bit.
At the very least, though, we could see Sniper and Quid were able to push Bwipo back off to that tower. They took the tier 1 bot, so they are able to grab a turret for themselves, and a little bit of gold that does come with it, but Massu is just going to be such a problem because Caitlyn traditionally has really strong early laning phase when you're on like no items, you're just level 1, you're already really going. Quid could be in some trouble. You're
going to have to use the Spirit Rush on this one for sure. 1 charge left. He'll escape, but hey, that means that we've got Rift Herald spawning here in 45 seconds, and Ahri has no ult. Ahri missing ulti is such a reduced threat in a team fight.
Exactly, and Massu now has kind of just been slingshot basically past this kind of this power, I don't know, trough. Yeah, exactly. You know, in the mid game where you aren't that strong on 1 items. You get really strong again on 2-3 items as Caitlyn. Once you have that crit, you have some attack speed and stuff built up. Got really early Untall, going to be working towards an IE second very likely, and then once that 3rd item comes in, Caitlyn is really high DPS, can be quite difficult to deal with in these fights, especially with so many champions there for counter engage and to kind of build space around her. If you just try to send everything at Caitlyn and then you get hit by the Neeko ult and the Sejuani's coming in and the Aatrox and all these champions, are so difficult to actually ignore and fight through.
Neeko is such a powerful anti-dive tool with what Pop Blossom does. I mean, we've talked about this before in previous metas where Neeko has been more popular, but that champion is such a heaven or hell teamfight experience based on the efficacy of the ulti, right? Like, if you hit a big Pop Blossom, cool, you just won the game, you're in the highlight reel forever. If you miss it, you're also in the highlight reel, but for a very different reason.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Lions online having some really good Pop Blossom, some really good engages there last week, and especially as support, because you don't have a lot of gold, so it's not like your Q&E are even doing that much damage. Generally you're going to get towards 1 item, probably go Proto Belt, and then it's just all about can you find that juicy ultimate. As 100 Thieves trying to force this Herald, and we'll grab it.
They'll take the Herald. Sniper goes for the Mega Gnar, but does not hit anything. Fate Sealed also going to miss as the ace in the hole flies out. Yeah, it hits Sniper, but it doesn't do a whole lot. Honestly, good play there from 100 Thieves.
Yep, going to be able to grab it and get out. Bwipo TP'd in, so Sniper says, nope, we're not taking this fight. I'm in mini. I'm just going to flash and not risk getting engaged on. Quad looking on the side here, but can't really find anything. And with all these 100 Thieves members around, I don't think there's really much of an angle for a push here from FlyQuest. So we're going to see Gnar going back down towards bot side. Bwipo's heading out towards top. And it's going to be likely Quid answering that topside push here from Bwipo. So just going back into that kind of same format that we were in before. But FlyQuest pretty happy in this situation, just continually farming it out. And we'll see if they do look to fight at this next objective, as second dragon will be available for them in just 15 seconds. And they're already grouping up on this bot side to get prio.
Yeah, one important thing to note about this game is because the first Drake was taken so late, it kind of feels like we're always one dragon behind in this one, because it really was just about that amount of delay on the first take. So it's not like they'll be able to even rush a soul even if they get 4 in a row. It'll still be quite a timer there for 100 Thieves to scale up towards. So if they're not feeling like contesting this, by all means, there really isn't a whole lot of pressure on them to do so. And you can see those Caitlyn traps kind of doing what I was talking about earlier, removing some of those avenues to try to approach this objective from, making it that much tougher for 100 Thieves to come up and try to contest.
Yeah, and I don't really think there's going to be much of a contest here, unless they can get them to kind of come back for this Herald that they're going to drop. We can see that Sniper's moving down towards bot side. He needs to get that Gnar charged up, though. He's got nothing on the bar.
Eyla just used the handshake on the Neeko clone, and now coming from behind, Bwipo with the World Ender ready to go. River's about to get stunned up, staying alive for now. Hostile takeover doesn't do a whole lot except create a little bit of space. Sniper still no Gnar. As 100 Thieves, they don't lose anybody, but those health bars are wrecked. Eyla and River both nearly dead. Eyla having to spend both summoner spells to not drop, and now FlyQuest has the green light for their Drake.
Yeah, it's going to be uncontested. They're just going to send a Sniper out towards top. He's going to push and try to trade back a tower up there. It's a tough fight as they, try to drop the Herald here, but FlyQuest just responds, and they preempt the engage because they knew Sniper wasn't there. He had headed out towards bot, so with him not in position, they just force their hand of their opponents.
Oh, but Massu now getting caught out as River jumps in with Wind Becomes Lightning, audacious charge. Quad, though, turning it right back around here with a Fate Seal back into the 100 Thieves jungler. Needs a little bit more damage, but has to snap back to his original spot. Quid missing the charm. Nice sidestep there from Quad to make sure he does not get caught out on his exit.
Yeah, good little bit of pressure because even though they don't get a kill, 100 Thieves keeps them interested in around mid lane. That's buying time for Sniper again, pushing out on this top side. He's going to get the tier 1. Bwipo, though, also pushing down on bot side. They cannot give up free tier 2. Tier 2 is just so much gold, so Quid is going to have to go down and respond, try to defend that, and we'll see how low it is right now. Sniper looks like he left early enough. This tower might just be dead. We'll see if Bwipo wants to actually fully commit to it, and he's going to do so.
Yeah.
Might end up trading his life for it, but we'll get that tower, and that's 700 gold. Those tier 2s are just so ridiculously valuable.
Well, Bwipo is very happy that Quid has no ulti right now, because otherwise that would be a very dead Aatrox, but he can walk it off, he can get himself away. Big stuff there. Otacon spawning on the top side of the map now. As you can see, that wave being pushed up by Quad. This mid lane tier 1 turret for 100 Thieves, also incredibly low. If this is left unattended for 2 auto attacks, or 1 auto attack actually, considering they've got 6 grubs, it's down.
Yep, exactly, and that's why they've kind of had these members around here for such a long time. Massu just going to be throwing out the ult, trying to get a bit of a chunk there onto FBI and see if he can actually get it on this wave. Busio kind of covering him on the side, and it looks like Inspired is moving up, but still not feeling fully confident that he can walk up and hit that tower until they see more people responding in side lane. So Quad going to be pushing out top, and again, Bwipo's back down towards bottom. They are going to TP, though, and it's going to be a fight here for 100 Thieves. They have Mega. Can they actually run him down?
Yeah, they're trying to make their way onto Quad before he can get any sort of an escape route. Wants to go for the Fate Seal. Nice block from River, guaranteeing the Yone cannot get over the wall. The shutdown goes to Sniper. 100 Thieves get their pick on a critical member of FlyQuest, and now they're making the call to go for the Otacon. It won't drop particularly quickly, and FlyQuest is on the way.
Yeah, we'll see if they can actually commit to this. I think they have to at this point. Quad has no TP, so it is going to be a 5v4, even if they are slow. Look at Quid on the side, looking for a charm on Massu.
Quid wants it, jumps and he finds the charm on Massu, but it's immediately cleansed as the Caitlyn survives. Hostile takeover over the top, but it only finds Inspired and Busio. Now Massu trying to get away from Quid, who manages to find the assassination, and Inspire's looking to turn it right back around onto the mid laner, but it ain't going to work. Busio needs a little bit more damage, and Bwipo was killed off Eyla. Now another hit comes through. Inspired takes down River. There's 3 dead bodies in 100 Thieves jerseys, and FlyQuest is going to take Otacon to boot.
Even with Quid finding the fight there, gets onto Massu, takes him down, survives the turn from Inspired. It just doesn't even matter. FlyQuest in a 4v5, losing their AD carry early, still win this fight. They basically 3v5'd here as Quid is able to go back over the wall, finish him off, but it's just about Bwipo and Inspired and Busio. This is what I'm talking about. So hard to fight through these champions. They're also tanking so much damage from the Otacon. They're all in that zone where it's doing AoE damage and it's shredding their armor and their MR as they tried to pile in to follow up on this pick from Quid onto Massu. They all run into the Otacon damage, and then they're all running into the Aatrox that just lights them up. And that is a 5v4 that you lose. Even with the great pick, that hurts, and that could be the last nail in the coffin here, potentially.
And I mean, it feels like a 5v5 with Otacon in there, and I'm glad you bring up the resistance shred.
These guys, man.
Like, these guys are really big making plays for their teams. Even in that one, where Quad was actually the one who got the playmate on him to start the fight, and Quid was the one who was able to find Massu. Still FlyQuest turning it around because of the Otacon resistance shred. Up to 50 flat armor and MR removed if you've been fighting Otacon for long enough. That's insane amounts of extra damage. It's 100 Thieves now, trying to get something here on Inspired and Bwipo. Inspired with the Arctic Assault over the wall, but that Sejuani is still in a lot of danger. His Aftershock is about to wear off. Eyla ready to join up here. There is no flash available, and FlyQuest have overplayed their hand, looking to try to use those false lives. Yes, it's not as bad as an actual death, but still feels like Inspired gave that one away for free.
He did, but Massu took the tier 2 mid, so that is going to be, you know, even more gold in his pockets. We do go into a pause. And yeah, I mean, Quid definitely having a really good fight on that top side. Quad wasn't a part of it, but these two mid laners have just been so good for their teams. Yeah. Some of the best players in the league, absolutely. You know, Quid obviously already having won an MVP back when it was LCS, and I feel like he is again in MVP form here in the LTA. In Split 2, he has been on a tear, but FlyQuest definitely in full control of this one, have been looking strong.
Just got an update from producers. Busio's game has crashed. So, yeah, kind of hard to play League of Legends when your computer is not running League of Legends. We're having league officials investigate that right now to try to get it back up and running ASAP so then we can get back into the game.
There you go. Well, hopefully he can get on in really quickly and we can continue things forward. The False Life Otacon, I definitely think is like way weaker than actually just getting all the plants because the additional XP
nowadays
is permanent. Exactly. I feel like they actually did nerf it enough that it became pretty balanced.
What was it, like 6 times the charm? the initial Voracious Otacon was pretty strong.
It was insane at first, for sure. I mean, you got a bunch of extra gold when you got kills. You only got 100 gold for killing them, and they respawned in, I can't remember, was it 3 or 5 seconds?
It was like instant. Yeah, it was just a couple of seconds. Yeah. They were right back on the map. But
now you get 200 gold for killing the false lives, and it takes them 15 seconds to respawn. It's a lot harder to force. We don't just see games end, so I tend to really prioritize when you can just kind of get the Flowers Otacon.
The Flowers Otacon is actually, like, I really, really like the design of that one because it's the only neutral objective in League of Legends that has 2 phases. Every other objective in League of Legends is just kill the thing. If you smite it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But the Ruinous Otacon, I really think adds a new kind of just like thinking measure.
You got to pick up the loot
because you have to pick up the loot as well, right? You can't
kill
just
the dragon. You can't just leave the gold on the ground.
Yeah, killing the guy is the first half, and then you have to get all the little materials and rewards, right? Yeah, you got to make sure you're picking up some of that candy.
Did you ever get piñatas as a kid?
No, I didn't.
We used to do them for Easter. I don't know if that's like a common thing or not, but we'd go to my grandma's house and they'd have a piñata with candy, and all the little kids got to take a whack at it. And if you cracked it, if you were the one who busted that thing open, you got the first pick of the candy.
Oh, that's a pretty good deal. That teaches you to swing hard. Oh, hold on, Bwipo's swinging hard into the enemy base. Big Q3 lands onto almost everybody, and Quid is down. Massu taking the kill credit on that one. Yes, Bwipo is going to trade his life, but it's a false life, so he'll be happy with that one as Quid is dead for the next 35 seconds.
Yep, going to be a really good pick, and up again on top side. Going to be trading out another false life, it looks like.
Yeah, FlyQuest is just using these to their fullest potential. That one's not exactly going to get a whole lot of rewards as Quad is now sent right back onto the fountain.
Yeah, and you have to be careful. You know, sometimes you want to really get something out of it, but at the same time, if it's not a good play, you're still giving them 200 gold for dying, right? So you still are giving them something. But FlyQuest not too worried about it. Still 5,000 in the lead. They're going to be able to grab this dragon. Looks like uncontested, as we can check back on the earlier replay. I think this was how Bwipo was able to get in that position, and just finds an angle on the blast cone here, looking for Quid, and is just able to chase after him. Q flash, hits the Q3, gets the passive auto, and barely is able to take him down. Of course, the bailout wouldn't work because false life doesn't count as a kill, so it doesn't count as something that actually reactivates that bailout. And then in the meanwhile, they grab that third dragon, so they're now on 3 dragons, 1 off that Infernal Soul. And Massu has not based in quite a long time. I've got to think he is close to LDR or whatever he's going to be going for next.
The funniest part about that play to me was that Bwipo started it off with just about half HP, and it's always one of those things where if I haven't seen a lot of Aatrox recently, I kind of forget just how much spell vamp he has when he's in World Ender. I mean, between the passive stab and then Q3ing 3 people, he just like zergs back up to 80%, and it takes him so long to kill him. He can just go into the enemy base 1v5.
Especially with Sundered Sky. Like, this thing is crazy. Even in a 1v1, the champion can be 20% HP. You're like, oh, I'm full health. I kill him, no problem. Great. He presses R, he pokes you with the passive, gets the Sundered Sky heal, and it's just like, all of a sudden, he just gained 1,500 health, and you're like, oh.
Oh, well, I guess you really weren't 20% HP. Yeah. I must have had a visual bug on my screen. This guy's got a lot more health than I thought he did. But FlyQuest now in a very commanding lead. Like you already said, 5,000 gold. River getting caught out here. This is bad news for 100 Thieves. The jungler's about to die, and he did it for free as Eyla down to about 1/3 of his own health. Now Sniper has to try to get away. There's nothing left for him to do here. FlyQuest having killed River. He's dead for the next 30 seconds. They know that Baron is right there and ready for the taking.
Yeah, they kill off River. They force out Ayla's flash as well with the World Ender there from Bwipo. 100 Thieves is going to be pushing up mid lane, trying to get some control there. They have to try.
Oh, Quid with the flash charm going after Massu, but again, he's going after this target that has the cleanse ready. Ayla's going to be next to die, but he gets the hostile takeover out before he falls. Quid barely hanging on the side of the fight. Massu did drop to FBI, but everybody on 100 Thieves is dying. Inspired taking a killing spree as the Kalista finally falls. Sniper and Quid both still alive, but barely hanging on with slivers of health. At least for 100 Thieves, they managed to stop the Baron.
Yeah, Quid thankfully barely survives. He was incredibly low, but thanks to that tanky build, does survive. And here is this look from Quid. He says, you know what, we are in a rough spot. R, Charm, Flash, does nail it. Which one's the assassin, though? Because he just got headshot and took way more damage than his full combo. And then this beautiful counter engage there from Busio. Flash, Proto Belt, ulti, catches Quid and Sniper with the very edge of that ulti. Even with all the damage onto Quid, though, still can't take him down. Full Roa stacked, plus the Leandries does make him really tough to crack. But you can see the FlyQuest coaches, they're relaxed, they're chilling, they're laughing. They know that this game is fully in their hands. It's just at that point where even if you kill one of these main targets like Quad and Massu, it just doesn't matter because the top side is also really, really strong. And they have enough damage, it feels like, to kill off these squishy members from 100 Thieves when they're being ignored.
Yeah, FlyQuest is taking a little bit of free damage here. That was Quad and Bwipo both tried to step up, put the pressure on 100 Thieves a little bit, but ended up taking some poke in retaliation. Tier 1 turret for FlyQuest, still alive, but very low on HP. As Quad once again going to use that soul unbound, try to step forward a little bit here. Sniper gets caught out by the Tangle Barbs, so loses some of his health as well, trying to force his way back up into this river, trying to make sure that FlyQuest isn't just starting up the Baron. Ace in the hole fired out, doesn't get a whole lot of a payoff from that one as River manages to block the bullet, and FlyQuest are right back to pushing. Less than a minute and a half until that Dragon Soul spawns. Eyla taking a huge chunk of damage as River tries to make the engage, and he's about to die before anything else even happens. Bwipo has hysterics to keep him alive. Snipers into the back, but he's already down. Busio goes on a rampage, and Eyla and Quid go on the run. They're the only two left alive on 100 Thieves, and Inspired and Busio are hunting them down. Eyla has been knocked back towards Bwipo. He tries to get away, tries to use the Mikhails to give himself enough extra freedom, but it does not matter. Quid is the last one standing, but he will fall like the rest. FlyQuest get a clean ace. It'll be 18-5 to end the game as they march on the Nexus turrets. No Baron required. 100 Thieves cannot stand up to FlyQuest, who will move on to a 3-0 start here in Split 2.
Nicely done. FlyQuest staying perfect so far atop the table, taking down 100 Thieves. We're going to fall to 1-2 now, unfortunately, with that loss. This one, though, felt like it was all about Inspired. He was everywhere in the early game, really cutting down on some of these win conditions, 400 Thieves. I mean, he gets down towards bot side. It was a winning 2v2 in the very early minutes for FBI and Eyla. They're pushing them back off the tower, but then all of a sudden, Inspire comes in, gets a kill, gets the flash off FBI. Then this really patient gank up on top side where he's waiting that side brush for felt like 40 seconds or maybe even more. And then finally, FBI steps 1 foot too far forward, and he's taken down as well. And it was kind of just Massu in this full control position, it felt like, from there.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff from Inspired and FlyQuest. And now we're going to go ahead and break down this week's Pagoda moment featuring